Hey, what's up everyone, Ricky here. Now before we get into the 4 tips that I always consider whenever I'm planning or taking a portrait, I just want to give a heads up that all of this footage was actually shot very early 2020, but nonetheless, all 4 tips are super useful in my opinion, especially number 3, so stick around for that one. But yeah, let's get right into the video. So my first tip for taking awesome portraits is finding a really cool location. For example, right now I'm at the Palm Springs Air Museum. There's like 100 really cool aircrafts, and even though you obviously can't go in most of them, it's still cool having cool aircraft to pose by. Like there's a helicopter, there's like a private jet, but there is one front of the cockpit that we can go into. Let's go and take some really cool portraits in there. It's really tight in here, but we're gonna take some portraits with an 85 of all the lenses that I could choose. So my tip number 2 for portrait photography is investing in a fast lens. Now, before I got into photography, I always wondered how people got the background blur and it looks so cool. And I always thought it was the cameras, but no, it's the lenses. So you want to invest in a aperture that is faster than 2.8. This one is a f1.4. So the background is going to look amazing for portraits especially. I do want to comment on having a filter. So here in Joshua Tree, look, can you show them? There's like no clouds whatsoever. In order to properly expose a photo or video, you would have to turn down the aperture, which would, get rid of the blurriness, and you don't want that. So you do want an ND filter like this one. I literally got it delivered because I forgot my variable ND filter. So as you turn it, it darkens to help you expose properly, and that way you can keep the aperture to be f1.4. For portraits, again, you don't always have the perfect conditions, and this helps keep that fast aperture. So let's take some portraits and I'll show you what I mean. This way, so there's like space between me and my background, so don't make fun of how I'm posing because I'm not a model. This is for so you guys can learn. Now let me take this off. All right, you guys aren't gonna be able to hear me. Catch it, Victor? Catch it. Okay, let me catch my breath. Okay, we were hustling to this area because we are running out of sunlight. There's obviously no other source of light out here, and that is my tip number 3, guys. It's all about light, and you want to find some flattering light for portraits. I know you've heard this before, but try not to shoot when the sun is directly above us because the shadows are not flattering, especially for portraits, but literally everything else, it's not that great of a light source to use. But right now it is like 5:30 p.m. So you got to know which season you're in as well, because you want to keep track of when the sun sets in every location that you go to. Right now it's barely over the horizon, so I'm still getting some nice, not so harsh light on my face. Sometimes you have to scope out and plan out, okay, when sunset starts, we're gonna move like this, we're gonna move to this other location and then that other location, because literally a minute makes a big difference. Like right now, look at these rocks, they're less lit. So light, guys, know how you're gonna light your subject. Okay, so my tip number 4 is getting creative with your portraits. For example, there's these glass prisms that make a really cool effect if you put it in front of the lens while you're taking portraits. And it has 3 sides, of course. So when you rotate it, you can see what you like. There's also other things that you should consider buying, like I think it's called a diffraction sheet, that it just messes with the light and gives you like a really cool effect. And I don't know, in general, things that are reflective or even shooting through things, and like colored gels and stuff like that. So get creative with your portraits and have some fun. quick recap time. Tip number 1 again was take photos in interesting locations. Don't overthink this. All I mean is get creative with where you take photos. Tip number 2, try to shoot with a fast aperture lens, f1.8, f2, just to get the background blur. Pretty straightforward. Tip number 3, always think about your light source, whether it's going to be the sun, so at what time are you going to be outside and where the position of the sun is going to be, or if you're going to bring an external source like this. Oh, you can't even see it. There you go. That's about to fall. If you're gonna bring that with you, just make sure that you have enough battery or you have someone to help you hold it. And the last tip is just to get creative and use props whenever it's useful and it's gonna enhance your photos. So with that being said, if you know the basics of photography and then slowly try to implement and get better at these 4 tips, I can assure you you're gonna have awesome photos and awesome portraits. And if you have any questions, you can always reach me on my Instagram, or also consider joining our Facebook group so we can all get better at photography together. And yeah, please like and share this video, subscribe to the channel, check out the other videos linked in the description down below. And that's it for me. I'll see you guys in the next one.